back again with Megawatt Home Renovations and Electric. I'm Trevor and this is Matt. He's the owner, CEO, president, and chief electrician over at Megawatt. Kind of does it all.
All of it.
Today our topic is how does the weather affect building projects? Well, we know that in Canada, especially in the Edmonton area, we have weather fluctuations like crazy. You go up and down, go from minus 40 to plus
40. Plus 44 this summer.
Right? Nuts. So we can get some pretty extreme weather here, either the hot side or the cold side and somewhere in between. So it doesn't make a difference on your building project. So our quote for the day is from David Goggins. If you haven't read his book, Can't Hurt Me, it's worth a read. It's pretty astonishing.
He's intimidating.
Yeah, he's an intimidating guy. For sure.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a quick fix. You may get results, but they won't be permanent. The permanent results come from you having to suffer. It's true.
Especially with the weather.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Frostbite. Yes. Okay. The Great Pyramid of Giza was the tallest building in the world for over 3,800 years.
It's impressive.
Quite impressive. And it's still standing.
Yep.
Hasn't fallen down.
People climb it constantly.
Okay, Matt, so let's jump into some questions. First one is, how does the weather affect the building process?
So in Edmonton, like everybody knows, like we were just saying, minus 40 to plus 44. So it's really imperative that you know what your weather is coming up to your project when you order materials and it's still summer-like conditions and all of your paint shows up and all of your drywall mud shows up, and then in 3 days it drops down to minus 10, minus 15, and then all of your drywall and paint and everything is now done. It's all for waste. Or you get your electrical stuff dropped off, and then all of a sudden all of your electrical stuff has that beautiful frost lay over everything. All of your breakers, now you have to wait for it all to dry out. So it's really imperative that you know what your weather is, especially with an 80-degree swing in temperature like we have here in Edmonton.
Pretty nuts. So which is worse? Rain, snow, cold, or hot? Which is the worst?
It's kind of a mix. I like to say sleet is the worst, and that is the mix between the rain and the freeze. It just gets on everything, and then as it melts, it just saturates you and gets you wet, and it's colder than just rain because it's frozen. And then it coats the grounds, makes stuff slippery, gets just in everything. So I absolutely hate the fall to winter and winter to spring transitions with the sleet and all of the freezing thaw. I can't stand that stuff.
Yeah.
So
The mud
is terrible.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mud is really sticky, gets on everything. You can't really avoid it. It gets all over the place. It's horrible stuff. And then with rain, stuff gets moldy.
Yeah, so that's the big problem with like out in Vancouver and BC is that no matter what you do, you're gonna have mold, and you can actually get that in Alberta if you live next to a lake or a river. You get a lot of humidity and then that quick snap freeze and then the nice thaw during the day and then the freeze at night. You'll start noticing the little green rings on your walls, and that's the telltale sign that you have mold growing behind your walls. So.
Yeah. Now, the nice thing about winter is if it does snow on your stuff and it's really cold out, you can just usually sweep it off.
Yep.
Not a big deal. It doesn't get wet if you don't heat it up, and you can just blow it off and it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
So that's almost better, but it's just cold.
It's a dry rain.
It's a dry snow.
It's just a dry rain.
Now, how does the weather affect budgets and timelines?
It affects it due to weather constraints. So sometimes in Edmonton, you can't actually get down the QE2 because it is shut down due to winter. Then we love to say that we have two seasons in Edmonton, and we have winter and then we have construction. So construction is summer, and summer brings out slow times on travel for trucks and everything like that. So it's always It plays a huge part because in the wintertime, people move slower, it's cold. In the summer, people don't really want to be there. They want to be vacationing. They want to be like, even the homeowners, they don't really want to be there. They don't want to make decisions. They want to be on the beach. They want to take full advantage of the 3 weeks of summer that we actually get in Edmonton, and really, who can blame them for that? So
Yeah, and when it comes to, let's say, the heat and the affecting budgets and timelines, if you have to warm stuff up in the winter, if you have like a complete shutdown
Yep.
or a gut out,
Herman Nelson's, they're expensive.
paying for propane and paying for rentals,
Yep.
and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's all of those little things that you don't really think of, and then you jump into it without a contractor, and you're like, oh well, why is the weather like this, and and then somebody steps in and says, well, you should have followed it like this, and this, and you wouldn't have had those problems. So weather is a thing that you have to take into account on every project, because there's outside projects and indoor projects, and if you can do the indoor projects when outside isn't nice and vice versa, that's how you have to handle your project.
Yeah, let's do some trenching in -25.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It's not fun.
No.
Okay, do builders ever factor in weather to budget and timelines? Do they ever think about, okay, well, they're coming into this season and it's going to take longer, so it's going to cost more?
Yeah. You kind of have to. With like every winter, that guys are going to move slower. It's going to take more with puffy jackets and more clothing. It's going to just take a little bit more to get things done.
Warm up breaks.
And in the summer, cool down breaks. And then in the fall and the spring, warm up, cool down breaks. You get kind of both. So you do have to take it into account on both, like on every aspect, on every job, that that at least one day of your project, I like to say every 1 to 2 days of 4 weeks, every 4 weeks, you're going to have a weather problem where it's going to hold something up or create a new problem that, you're going to have to grow from, like Tony Robbins said, right? So
Pain. Yeah. Now, how does the weather affect your schedule?
Like I said, it was it's the getting the materials. It's, hey, minus 40, people's vehicles don't start. Crews can't show up. Well, if crews can't show up, your project isn't getting built. I could be running around trying to do a little plumbing, do a little this, do a little that, and there's going to be 100 jobs that aren't done that day. So it's just easier to say, hey, today is a write-off, and let's hopefully everybody's vehicles start tomorrow.
Cool. Oh man, you just sent shivers down my spine.
I know,
thinking about it
because
already.
it's coming.
It's coming soon. Right now, we're just in what is it, October?
Soon to
September?
be September.
Still September, almost October, which means almost snow, and then it's into the...
It's got the chill at night. Got to start bringing plants in. So that's kind of an intimidating thing I hate about the winter. It's going to get cold. It's going to get cold.
Now, what's the longest time you've seen a project delayed by weather?
So it was back in my apprenticeship. It was actually in the oil field. And we were shut down for 2 weeks due to rain. And it wasn't just a little bit of rain. It was like a torrential downpour, which washed out the only bridge in and out of our camp, which meant the sewage in, sewage out didn't come. The water in, water out didn't come. So they were coming up with like really kind of weird ways of getting like people to shower, and it was like super chlorinated water because they couldn't bring in the normal water that normal, and food was starting to become an issue at the end of it. But you showed up to work and it was too unsafe to work out in fields, so you kind of just like went inside of big warehouses and just sorted parts, and that's all you could really do, because it was a ridiculous amount of water to the point like we actually had to build trenches, and we had to build like sandbags and stuff to stop big plants from getting like overtaken by the water that was coming into the plant, because they built the plant below grade and everything was rushing down towards it. So wow. Yeah, 2 weeks due to rain up in Fort McMurray. That was gnarly.
That's pretty. When you see somebody starting to build a big ship, you know you got trouble.
Yeah. There's Noah was coming and collecting all of his parts. So,
all right, Matt. What can a site supervisor do to try and overcome the weather?
have the weather network on your phone. Trust it 50% of the time. Expect the worst. I don't know. It's really hard to plan for the weather. The weather changes every 30 minutes in Alberta. So I guess a supervisor just kind of keeps track, keeps log, knows what the weather conditions are, checks in on the weather conditions if they're about to change, alerts the crews and lets them know, so that you're not stuck with a half project that the rain's coming and it's just going to ruin all the material that you put on the roof anyways, or inside, or whatever you did, right? So that's a big thing, is have the supervisor constantly checking in, because it's really good to know, just to keep track of it. So for your worker compensation and everything, just to know what the weather was that day, and just keeps you in the know.
Yep, and trying to plan ahead, and if you've got material coming, how are we going to protect it from rain, or how are we going to protect it from whatever?
Keeping it off the ground, having tarps. Yeah.
Getting gravel from mud.
Rig mats for
all
the
that
mud.
fun stuff.
Yep.
So lots of things that they can do, but it's tough. You know, I mean, sometimes you just can't get things at a moment's notice, right?
Yeah. No.
There's always,
especially today, can't do it.
Always things that happen. Sometimes it goes pretty smoothly, and you're good, clear sailing. It's just the transition seasons is really where you have issues.
Yeah.
So, what challenges come with each different season? So, what problems do we have in summer, spring, winter, and fall?
Okay, so summer, like I was saying, nobody wants to be around, especially the homeowners. They want to be on the beach and want the project just built perfectly without them being there. And well, crews, they tend to save their time for the winter, or for the summer to go on vacation. So it's tough to build around multiple companies, multiple crews, because you don't know who's going for vacation when, and who's the most important for your project at that moment, right? So summer got its issues there. Winter's got its issues because, well, minus 40 and it's winter, and people don't show up if their cars don't start, and that really slows projects down when people don't show up. Whether you're the first year apprentice or not, believe it or not, you are missed on that site. Whether you think you are or not, you really are. You really are missed on that site. So, and then you have your fall and spring. Those are kind of like my nightmare seasons. The mud, the rain, the sleet. Getting stuff, because it's usually the transition between last year's models and this year's models, and they're doing all the transitions, and you might not be able to get it in springtime that you were able to get it in fall. So they all have their real hardcore cases about why I don't like each one, but yeah, I like the summer because it's the easiest one to control. It's the one I prefer to work in.
And we have daylight from 4 in the morning until 11 at night. So,
yeah, that's a big one too.
So that helps.
Yeah.
You can start really early and work till really late and get stuff done. A lot of production happens in the summertime.
100%.
Now, what are the benefits of starting in late spring versus other seasons?
So I know I said that I hate spring. I hate early spring. Late spring is generally drier, and it's starting to get the warmer temperatures. But if you're starting in the springtime, digging is accessible. You can start doing all of the earthwork movements and everything like that. You don't have to really worry about your materials freezing overnight. And then if your project does go over timeline, you're pouring right into summer. And well, like I said, summer is a great time to build. So you have a lot of time that you're not going to have to be worrying about freeze thaw and everything like that. And then you come into fall. So you have a big buffer zone between the really harsh climate that's going to really hold up your jobs. So I like to start my jobs late spring, early summer. That way it kind of flows right through, and then I don't have to pull the customer through a winter and in a half-finished house. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you have it, folks. There's a lot of things to be thinking about, and weather does affect a building project, especially where we are now. If you're in California and it's pretty temperate all year round, then more it's probably just supply chain and people, you know, finding good people. That's probably more the challenges there, which are more simple to overcome.
yeah,
But here we've got the extreme weather because we're tough.
we are.
We know how to suffer.
We're the most northern 1 million plus city in the world. So we're the most north 1 million city.
Yeah.
Holy, no wonder we have such problems getting stuff here.
Right? Huge.
Huge.
Okay, guys, so thank you so much for watching the video. Call Matt at Megawatt, and you can also visit the website megawattpro.com and check it out. Fill out the form, give him a call, and he'll come up for a quote. See you next time.
Thanks.